I am Mel Barrett, and welcome to Something's Off. I'm here solo today without my partner in crime, Rebecca Lavoie, who is still recovering. And she also has to do a work thing. So I'm hoping she's making that work for her. She's in DC. I got to see her last night. She was still not feeling well, but we did get to hang out for a little bit, and she got me a lovely birthday present. So apologies that she's not here with me, but I felt the need to come on and talk to you all because there's been some crazy ass shit that's been coming out from this latest dump of documents and video from the Queen, Corri Hopkins, Marbury versus Mad. And Jesus, hey, Romodo, thank you for the $20. Today's your birthday. Oh, happy birthday, my friend, my fellow Aquarian. I turned 50 about a week and a half ago. I hope that you are having an amazing day. Everybody say hi and happy birthday to Romodo. We love a birthday. Birthdays are my favorite holiday, I think, actually. I'll say that. So first of all, this is going to be mostly Karen Reed updates. And just to let you know, I'm going to drop a bit of information on you. I'm going to give you probably some homework to do. There's a video out there that you need to go watch. There's a drive that has all of the Corri Hopkins documents in it that I would really advise everyone, if they're interested, to go and check it out. But Rebecca and I are going to do a little bit more of a deep dive on all this stuff that's happening on Thursday in our regular stream. We haven't figured out what time that's going to be yet. I know that 9 a.m. Eastern is a little too early for our West Coast friends. So we're going to try to work that out and make it so that you all can join us. But like I said, I just felt the need to come on today because this shit is crazy. Let me grab some of these comments before I get into it, though, because I don't want to miss anybody. Oh, this one was, yeah, TC Nerd says Rosemary's footnote and Queen Corri. Yeah. So we're talking about Rosemary Scapiccio, the defense attorney for, oh man, I just lost his name. What's his name, TC Nerd? Anyway, she has a footnote in one of her motions about Proctor's cell phone, and she's also a queen, and I love her so much. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Debbie. Hi. I don't know what your name is. Patrice Change. Rebecca is a great gift giver. So I mentioned this to her. I think we might have even talked about it on a stream. She had asked me if I have ever played cribbage, and my whole family played cribbage growing up, but I never learned how to play it. It's to me, I think of it like as an old school New England, board card game. So Kevin, Rebecca's husband, was supposed to teach me how to play cribbage during my birthday celebrations, but they couldn't make it because we got stuck in a blizzard. I think my microphone is not right. Hold on a second. Let me make sure. Hopefully that sounds okay to you guys. So she got me this really cool cribbage board. She also got me, I don't have it up here with me right now. She got me a copy of Plevin's book, which I cannot wait to dig into. I might even do a reading of it at some point. If anybody's interested in that, let me know. Let's see. Bite my bits. Yay, finally alive. Happy birthday, everyone. Mine was 2 weeks ago. Does that make you an Aquarian? That makes you an Aquarian, isn't it? Doesn't it? I think so. We love the Aquarians. Not just because I am one. I just absolutely love Aquarians. Let's see. Thank you for all the happy birthday wishes. I got many lovely messages. We had an amazing time. Even though we were snowed in, I was so happy to be around my friends and family. We did miss Rebecca and Kevin, though. Oh, Miles King. That's right. Thank you. So Rosemary Scapiccio's footnote is in one of the Miles King motions. And it's chef's kiss. So let's see. Oh, good. Melissa watched Samantha Benig. Literally, I was talking to Rebecca last night about this, and we spent 5 minutes with me trying to pronounce her last name because I get it confused with Dan Bongino's last name, and her name has an extra N in it. And so I know it's Beningo. Is that right? Anyway, I am going to reference the video that Sam put on her video last night, which is sort of blown up the Karen Reed internet today. And I would highly suggest, I'm going to play a little clip of it, but I would highly suggest you go and watch it because holy shit. Um, it almost feels like Lana from Truth and Transparency, who made this video, it almost feels like she kind of solved this case. I'm not sure if she did or not. And maybe it's just me being like, holy fuck. Like there's something to that. But then again, like I have a little bit of a conspiracy brain. So yeah. So I'm gonna play a little bit of it. I want you guys to check it out. It's amazing. Hold on. If you watch Samantha but not the Canton Chronicles, you're missing a big piece of this puzzle. Tell me about the missing piece, Jess. I'm interested in what you have to say. She certainly did. I'm going to put for the replay folks, I'm going to put a bunch of links in. I'll try to put them in the comments here too, but I'm going to put a bunch of links in the episode description. Just got a tip. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate you. Yeah, let's deal with some housekeeping while we're on the subject. I got a couple of comments in that were like, "Oh, you guys are asking for money. I'm not watching this, blah, blah, blah." And, we like to try to do the housekeeping stuff right up front to get it out of the way so that we can get into the meat of the episode. And generally the housekeeping is me and Rebecca saying thank you so much to everyone who sends us tips and who grabs a membership or who sends a super chat, because it's we don't really make a lot of money making this, but we absolutely love it. And it is our work. So what you guys are doing, the tips, all these things, they help us so, so, so much. And so I'm here to say thank you. I appreciate you. If you want a tip, you can scan the QR code that's on the screen right there, or on the bottom of the screen is the Venmo and the Cash App. Also, like the video while you're sitting here, because that helps with our algorithm. We are so close to hitting like 4,000, I think, subscribers, which is just blowing my mind. But it's all thanks to you guys. I love this so much. I come from the podcast world. I don't come from the video podcast world, although I was a filmmaker. And as soon as I realized that like we could do live streams and talk about the things that we love, I'm completely obsessed with it. Almost every day, Rebecca and I have a conversation and we go, should we go do a stream right now? We constantly, it's like the joy of our lives right now. We love to do this and we love to talk about it and we love to hang out with you all. And honestly, I know everyone says this about their own audience, but I think you guys are the best audience. And one of the reasons why I love our audience is because you engage. You usually do it in like an ethical, honest way. So we can have these like really strong debates. And that makes me so happy. So I just want to say thank you so much. I'm getting another text. Oh, one other thing I did want to update on. Tomorrow night, I am launching a new show on YouTube called News Light with Mel Barrett. And I don't want to call it a parody, but it's a take. Maybe it's a riff on Abby Phillips' CNN News Night. Because it's one of those shows that I hate watch. I've mentioned this before. I sit down almost every night at 10 o'clock, or I go back so I can fast forward through the commercials. And I watch Newsnight because they're talking about the things that are happening, that are happening right now, the Epstein files, ICE raids, all that stuff. And the panel is usually like 4 or 5 people, and then Abby herself. 2 of them are usually strong MAGA folks. 2 are usually more from the liberal perspective. And then the 5th one is usually, a media person or a lawyer or a doctor or a judge or something like that. And the tagline for that show is Americans with different perspectives aren't talking to each other, but here they do. And I just want to say that's a lie. That is a total and absolute lie, because what these people do is they come on with their talking points and they stick to those talking points and they just sort of scream at each other for like an hour. I don't want to do that. So I am inviting tomorrow night, my first episode is going to have Maggie Freeling, Ellen Marsh, and then a guy named Thomas, who some of you who know Ellen Marsh might know. Thomas is an amazing guy. He's so articulate in talking about politics. Whenever Thomas and Ellen and I get together, we sit down and we end up having like big debates about about politics. So tomorrow night, Newslight, I'm going to have a 3-panel show. We're going to talk about the Epstein files. We're going to talk about this shit show that was Pam Bondi. I am not going to talk about a lot of politics right now because I know some people in the audience really don't like that. They come here to escape and to learn about these cases that we're talking about. So tomorrow night, 7:00, the YouTube is called Newslight with Mel Barrett. Please go and subscribe when you get a moment, and please tune in. We'll have the chat up. It's going to be a live stream so we can interact with you all too, but we're going to be talking about some pretty heavy stuff and hopefully having a very good conversation and debate. Right now, the people that I'm having on are people that I know and more than likely have, share similar political leanings with me, but I would very much like to in the future, once I build a little bit more, I'd really love to have some people that don't agree with me on so that we can have these good debates. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's see. Let me grab some of the comments here. Hold on a sec. Sad to say, I think Lana and Samantha are wrong. There was a video of a handoff. Yeah, Jess, I know what you're talking about. There is a video of what looks like a handoff, but the thing that I don't know, and this is the thing that, and we're going to get into this in a minute. The thing I'm trying to determine is, did that handoff happen before Lank showed up? Because if it did, then either someone handed the phone to Lank, which is also still a problem, or like we're saying, Lank had the phone. Not really sure. I think that there's going to be a lot of debate about it. I think a lot of people are going to be breaking it down. Hold on. I'm getting a text from Rebecca as I'm on right now. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. She's not feeling well. She's actually back at the airport heading back to New Hampshire. I think it's worth discussing, Jess. That's what I want to do with this. I want to get to the bottom of it. I'm not sold on whether Lank had the phone before he arrived at 34 Fairview or not, but I think it's worth a debate. And I think that it's something that was never answered in trial 1 and trial 2. And for the audience who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I promise you I'm going to get into it in a minute. Let me just get through some more comments. Boozy Beauty found it, and Canton Chronicle went over it. They're live last night around 56 minutes. Okay. Let me see if I can pull that up while I have you guys. So you're saying Canton Chronicle is at the 56-minute mark. Hold on a sec. Canton Chronicle. So you're saying this was the Sunday Night Live, Jess? Okay. I think I have it. All right. We're going to go to the 56-minute mark. And we will get to that in just a moment. Let me get back here. Okay. Oh, that's very sweet. Screw the haters. We love your content and want to help you continue. I appreciate that. Rebecca appreciates it. Let's see. So this was a question to you, Jess, from Bite My Bits. Is there a particular part? Is it long? They concentrated on the Chris, Julie, Albert part, right? That I don't know. We're going to get into it in a second. I like the conversation part of the live streams. Well, that's good. We have a tendency to go on tangents. I'll probably go on a bunch of tangents, even though I'm here by myself, because that's what I do. I'm a tangent queen. Oh yeah. I can't wait to share it with you guys. I hope it goes well. My goal with this is to be able to at least be face to face with people, having these conversations about politics in a constructive way, because I feel like we're still so polarized right now. We really need to start getting on the same page and figuring out how to fix the shit show that we're in. So were the times off? I think what you're referencing is were the times off on John's, the steps on John's phone. And I don't know. Well, we're going to go through it. That show is the worst. What show is the worst? Which show is the worst? Oh, let's see. Yeah, this is the thing that really stuck out to me too. Bite My Bits. And again, we're going to get into it. I feel so bad for the people who don't know what we're talking about yet, but I just want to get through these chats. Hold on. I did watch Samantha. Maybe there is more to it. There was a little bit more, Jess. There was a little bit more to Lana's video. Lana, I'm not sure. Lana, from Truth and Transparency than Sam played on her channel. I scoured Lana's video today and listened to the whole thing and listened to it again, and I analyzed it and all that stuff. So what I'm gonna do before I play parts of Lana's video is I'm gonna sort of break down. I'm gonna summarize the video. So hopefully that will help everyone. Um, if the data on JO phone is the same as Link's, yeah. New channel. Yeah, new channel. It's called News Light, Light, with Mel Barrett. When you argue with yourself, you always win. Yeah. I was wondering about whether there was a drift factor for the steps data too. That I don't know about because that sounds very scientific to me, and I am not a scientist by any means. I couldn't follow all those times with truth and transparency. It is a little bit confusing. I love the fact that she had the chart up there. And so basically what she's saying, there was one moment for me in her video where she shows that John's phone is moving for the exact amount of time that Lank is moving. And then when he goes to sit in the cruiser, John's phone stops moving. And then when he gets out of the cruiser, it starts moving again. That's pretty compelling. But Jess, have you watched the Necessary Conversation podcast? Infuriating but eye-opening for political discourse. You would be a great guest on there. I will definitely check it out. I've never even heard of it, so I will check it out, Jess. Thanks for letting me know. This is one of the other things that really stuck out to me. And not just Jen, but Carrie is the one who drove them to Lank. So Carrie was there too. Like some of the things that I want to point out is that Lank is very close to the Alberts and the McCabe's. He lives 4 minutes down the road, just a few blocks down the road from 34 Fairview. And he was heavily involved. He showed up on the scene that morning. And then after that, he was heavily involved in talking to all the people that were involved. He's also the guy who went into the house. And I think that's super important. And that you're going to see in the video. That would be a good one. I agree with that. Hey, Amanda. How are you doing, hun? I got your email. I hope that you're doing okay. Obviously, I don't want to talk about anything personal here, but I hope that you're okay and that you're feeling good. He may not actually have been on duty, but he showed up at Fairview. Yeah, he said something along the lines of, in his testimony, he said, I'm always going to answer that call, meaning because it was about a Boston police officer, or because, I don't know if John O'Keefe's name was brought up. Basically, he's always going to show up if something like that happens. So that's what he said in testimony. I feel like what's going to happen now is we are all going to be dissecting the hell out of all this testimony. It seems to me like Carrie Roberts has changed her story 3 times right now. So in trial 1, she said one thing. In trial 2, she said another thing. And now she's over with the forensic, whatever they're called, the coven, telling a whole new story. So what's the real story? And now it's just all confused because of this Lank information. Hold on. Oh yeah, not in trial 2. You're right. I don't care. They got you. I don't think Carrie was. Yeah, you're right. She wasn't in trial 2. I don't know what I was saying, but she's told several different stories. I don't think Carrie was in trial 2. They got geolocation from Jen from the feds, and she went there from her house, not the O'Keefe's. Yeah. Ted Daniel reports that the judge denied the deep dive into Karen and TB's phone, but still want to keep them just in case. Yeah. That data is lost like others in the case who got rid of their phones. Yeah, that was very interesting that they shut down the Commonwealth wanting to dig into Karen's phone, which is at this point, like, give the phones back. What the hell are they doing? Let's see. On the mend, but a little slowly. One day at a time, for sure. Take it easy. I've been there. Lisa said, I did see Canton Chronicles first and then Lana's. CC has uncovered amazing details, but in this point, Lana nailed it. I haven't watched the whole Canton Chronicle yet, but I'm going to agree with you on that one. I've seen some of it. I used to play cribbage. I think you meant, I think you used to play cribbage with your grandmother all the time, and now I can't find anyone who knows how to play it. I've never played it though. Everyone in my family, it looks so confusing to me, but I really want to learn. Make sure you have Make sure you have no, water in your mouth. It's hilarious how much he literally makes up. It's comedy gold. I mean, every time that guy tweets or opens his mouth, it is comedy gold. So, I agree. Um, I feel a little bit bad for Carrie too, Amanda. I think that she was used. I think a lot of people were used, and I think that she really cared about John O'Keefe, and I think that she was a very good friend of his, and she just wanted to do right by him and his family. I think she's very close to Peggy. There are rumors out there that she was over at Peggy's house for a wildly long time the other day. Um, but I feel bad for a lot of people in this case. I think that a lot of people were used by the House defendants, in my opinion, who again, in my opinion, I think that they might be the ones who are responsible for John O'Keefe's death. Um, Patrice, you're amazing. Thank you. I love it. You know what? I'm telling you, I get like a little teary-eyed, honestly. Sometimes when these tips come in and I read your notes, and these super chats and the memberships come in, but when I read the notes, it just means so much to me and it makes me want to keep going and trying to get better and trying to do more. And so anyway, I appreciate you all again. Let's see. All right. I am going to Brittany. I always wonder if John's family has changed their mind after the second trial. I know they had to put the civil on hold until after the criminal and then just decided to see if they could win for money. I don't think they've changed their minds. I think that the cognitive dissonance and the confirmation bias for the O'Keefes, and I'm not saying this to be mean to them. I think it's a normal thing. I've seen it in so many of the cases that I've covered. Specifically for me, the Pam Smart case. When you're on the other side, you don't want to believe that anything could have gone wrong. I just covered the Lucy Letby case on the In Between podcast, and I don't know if you all have watched the documentary on Netflix, but it's about the NICU nurse in the UK who was convicted of murdering babies in the NICU. And a lot of us are starting to think that maybe she didn't do it. And there's a lot of scientific and medical evidence out there to say that she didn't do it. And I think it's going to be very difficult, listening to the doctors in that documentary, listening to the AI generated mom in that documentary. I think it's going to be really difficult for them to thinking one way, thinking this person murdered these children, murdered these babies, and oh my god, she didn't do it. Because there's guilt that comes along with that. It's not just about, well, we 100% believe that Karen Reed killed John O'Keefe, and we're sticking to that. And he was our son and our brother and our friend, and she deserves to be in prison. Like, that's a pretty strong argument. But the outside of that is if you start to doubt that, if you start to think that maybe she is innocent or she didn't do it or somebody else did it, the guilt that comes along with that. I mean, the woman went through 2 trials and was facing, life in prison. And had she gone to prison and been innocent or not guilty, that would be a huge burden for anyone to deal with. So, there's a couple of things that I want to actually talk about. Let me transition a little bit. So, I've been thinking a lot about these new document dumps that came from Marbury v. Mad, Corey Hopkins. And when I'm listening to the audio, so if you haven't looked at some of the new stuff, there's a lot of audio, there's a lot of video. This is the drive. I'm going to put it in the comments. This is the drive where Corey is hosting through Loophole Lawyer, I believe, where she's hosting all of the files that she's getting, because there's tons of them, right? So when you get a chance, it's in the comments. If there's a link in the comments, unless it didn't post right like it did before. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's there. So what I'm starting to think, and this is really bothering me, and it's been on my mind for days ever since I started listening to these audio and watching the video. So there's a couple of audio clips in there from Kelly Dever, our favorite Canton police officer who had a false memory with the FBI. Kelly Dever is one of those people that I feel sorry for. I think she was forced to change her story. I think that she ruined her career over this. And Kelly Dever, there's audio with her speaking with other police officers because she was on the desk. She wasn't supposed to be on the desk. Sean Good left the desk, went to the scene, Kelly took over, and I think one of the audio, clips is her also talking to possibly either EMTs or the hospital, and she says to them, we're not sure what happened to John or the cop. We only know that he has, cuts and scrapes and bruises on his face, and it looks like he either was hit by a plow or he was in a fight. There were a couple of other audio clips from other police officers saying the same thing. We think he might have been in a fight. We're not sure if he got hit by a plow. We're not sure what happened. Excuse me. And what that says to me is because it never came up at trial. Those audio bits and video bits never came up at trial. So I find it hard to believe that if Karen Reed's defense team had access to those pieces of audio, that they wouldn't have presented them to impeach these witnesses. And the fact that they didn't use them to impeach these witnesses is making me think they never received that stuff, which is an obvious disclosure violation. And I was talking to Rebecca about this yesterday, and I started positing that this is my opinion, obviously. Let me just state that to begin with. If the Commonwealth and the McAlberts didn't think that this would even go to trial for the first time because they thought that Karen would plead out, which she did not do, they weren't worried about the audio and the video. And once it got to trial, they still weren't worried about the audio and video because they were pretty sure they could convince a jury that she was guilty. They got a mistrial. And then in the second trial, we're looking at the flipped video, the inverted video. We're starting to see manipulation of the digital files that were coming from the Commonwealth. My opinion is that they never worried about it because they thought she was either going to plead out or she was going to be convicted. When she wasn't convicted and there was a mistrial and they had to go into trial 2, then it became, let's manipulate some stuff. Let's invert this video so it looks like someone's looking at the taillight, yada, yada. They never expected that it would go as far as it has gone. And so to me, they're like, we'll hold some of this back. I don't know how much Colleen Crawford has to do with all this. But it feels to me like they held back a lot of this audio and video, which is a clear discovery violation. The defense should have had access to those Kelly Dever audio bits because they had her on the stand in trial 2. They could have impeached her with this audio. They could have impeached other officers with the audio of officers saying it looks like he might have been in a fight, which they were asked about on the stand. So I find it really hard to believe that someone who's as much of a rock star as Alan Jackson is didn't say, "Oh, you said that he was in a fight. Here's the audio to prove it." So where did that audio come from? Why are we getting it now? I think Corri may have asked that same question on her Twitter. Why are we just now hearing and seeing this for the first time? And what do we do about it? This woman spent over $1 million to defend herself and is continuing to fight this case in civil court. And it's taken her 4 years or so of her life, and she almost went to prison for life. What are we doing in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts? Why are these videos and audio bits, why weren't they turned over to the defense? And if they were turned over to the defense, then I can't imagine a world that they wouldn't have used them. So to me, it sounds like they weren't turned over. And there should be at least sanctions because of that. All right, let me get caught up on the chat. We're rolling here. I'd like to make a guest suggestion. Oh, this is for my newsletter. I'd like to make a guest suggestion. Untwisted Tragedies is probably the only reasonable anti-FKR I came across. It would be interesting. I'd be interested in talking to anybody who wants to have an honest, ethical debate. So either on this show or on Newslight, I'll check out the channel. But thanks for the recommend. Carrie testified in trial too. I can't remember. Did she? She did, right? She testified in trial too? I thought she did. Yeah, that's what I thought. She testified in both trials. And the way that I understand it, Carrie's story changed from trial 1 to trial 2, and now it's changed to something else now that she's talking to the coven. So I don't know. I mean, we got to get to the bottom of it. I think between these 2 videos, the Canton Confidential and Truth and Transparency's videos, there's got to be something to that. So let's see. Yeah, that's right. You know what? Now I'm remembering she did get her ass handed to her, and she got her ass handed to her because she lied to the grand jury, if I remember correctly, and he called her out on that. Um, and that's where, yep, you're right, Amy. That's when we were talking about Carrie and Jen McCabe sitting down to make the timeline at the request of Peggy, apparently, and Denise Galvin, right? Denise Galvin, Jen McCabe's sister, was the one who basically wrote the timeline down. There was some news that came out about the Galvins. Rebecca and I will probably be talking about that on Thursday. There was some pretty interesting news that came out in this document dump about them as well. In trial 1, Carrie wasn't cross-examined whatsoever. Trial 2 wasn't. Yeah, that was fun. I know. Okay, you guys, you point this out to me every time, and I know how it's pronounced in my brain. This is sort of like a Tommy Paul situation. I know how it's pronounced in my brain, but it doesn't make it to my lips when I say it. And I feel bad because I really love Sam's work, and I don't want her to think that I'm a dumbass if she hears this. But I'm gonna try harder. Sam Benigno. Is that right? Sam Benigno. Benigno? See, I'm almost doing it again. It's tough. It's tough for my head. Um, you know what? Here's a question I had yesterday. It's interesting that you bring this up, Bite My Bits, which I love your screen name, by the way. When I was talking to Rebecca last night, I was like, what are all these people gonna do when this is actually over, if it's ever over? Like, how are they gonna go on? I asked this question at the end of trial 2 about all of the commentators and all the YouTubers and everybody who was so invested, including us in this case. Like, I almost felt like, "Oh, shit, what are we gonna do with our time? What are we gonna do?" And apparently because there's still so much going on. But what are the O'Keefes and the McAlberts gonna do when this is finally over? Whether any of them are prosecuted or any of them have to answer for what's happened, what is everyone going to do? I feel like this is their life now. This is who they are. And I think it's a scary place to be in. Who became a new member? Journeys of Peace. Thank you for becoming a new member. I appreciate that. Peggy will always blame Karen Reed for her son's death. And rightly so, I have to say. Not rightly so. That's the wrong way to say that. I understand it. I understand it. Just a quick personal story. One of my uncles, when I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, was driving his motorcycle in our neighborhood. And one of our neighbors, his name was Flicka, because we lived in New Hampshire in the woods. Flicka was one of our like beloved neighbors, an amazing person, amazing guy. He and his wife, they babysat me. They were lovely people. But one day Flicka got drunk and he drove his truck down the hill, and he didn't stop at the end of the hill, and he hit my uncle. And my uncle spent the rest of his life suffering through traumatic leg injury and all kinds of stuff. And part of my family wanted to sue Flicka. And the other part of my family was like, no, we can't do that. He is a good neighbor. He's a good friend. Thanks for the tip, Lisa. You're amazing. But I do know that from that moment on, our relationship with Flicka changed completely. We barely spoke to him. We were not friends anymore. They kept to their house, which was literally next door to our house. We kept to our house. It's really difficult when a family member has been seriously injured or killed, and you've been told or that it is a specific person who did this to them, to ever forgive them. I know that people do forgive, and I'm of that mindset that we need to forgive people. Because it's not for them, but for us, because holding that hatred and holding that pain inside of you really doesn't do anything good for your body and your mind and your soul. But I do believe that you're right, Cuzco, that Peggy is always going to blame Karen Reed. Whether she knows, even if Peggy were shown proof that Karen didn't do it, I think she's always going to, in the back of her mind, think that Karen had something to do with it. Yeah, I'd agree with that, Amanda. Yes, I saw this too, Cinnamon. I thought this take from Lawyer Peter Tragos was excellent. he was basically saying, I'm gonna try to do the Cliff Notes version of it. He was covering the civil hearing that they had a few days ago in the Karen Reed, in the John O'Keefe, the O'Keefe family versus Karen Reed matter, um, where Karen's attorneys are doing their homework. They're doing everything they're supposed to do. They are well above their deadlines. They're doing all the work. The O'Keefes on the other side, they're not doing as much. And the lawyer, Peter, was saying that at some point, when you're a plaintiff's attorney, you have to determine whether the amount of work that you have to do. So we're talking about all the depositions they're going to have to take. There's going to be 60 some odd depositions in that civil case. And there's only 20 or so that overlap. So they have 20 of the same people on the list for depositions. The judge might get to a point where he orders them, because they're so far behind the ball right now, to here's your schedule. You need to have all these depositions done by this certain day. And Peter Tragos was saying that for a plaintiff's attorney, if you're not sure you can win the case, at some point you have to go, should we be paying out all this money to do this on a case that we're not sure we can win? He was saying that when he takes on a civil case as a plaintiff's attorney, he is 99% sure he's going to win the case, and that's the only reason he does it. So at some point, he's thinking that the O'Keefe lawyers might actually cut their losses. They're starting to lose steam. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I thought that was a really good point too. I didn't really know how to bring it up, so I'm glad you did. Let's see. This is a really funny point. This is something that Rebecca and I talk about a lot, Jess, because Jess said, I love this liberal FKR refuge in a sea of conservative FKR Y tiers. It's funny because Rebecca and I do consider ourselves liberal. And we were so enamored with the idea that we were able to bring people like me and Rebecca together with people who probably voted differently than we did and have very different political views than we do. And for the most part, I mean, you think about Turtle Boy, you think about a lot of other people, they're very conservative, and they might even be MAGA. And we're able to talk to these people and we're able to be on the same page. So I think this is something I want to sort of see going forward in our whole political, world, is that we start to find the things where we have the commonalities and we build on those kind of things. So yeah, we talk about that a lot. I love it. Um, let's see. Let's see. Brittany says it's just no logical thinking person could think she did it after ARCA. Just head in the sand. I feel bad for them because they were manipulated by JM. I'd agree with that completely. Let's see. I know, Rhonda. Don't feel bad for Carrie for lying to the grand jury. I know, but I do. I feel bad for these people as human beings. I feel bad for, like I said, Kelly Dever. I feel bad for Carrie. They've been manipulated. Um, and it's sad to me. And I feel bad for Peggy O'Keefe. She's been manipulated quite a bit as well. A lot of these people have. They're sticking to their corners. This is what we do now. We go into our polar opposites and we stick there, and we can't see anything outside of that black and white. And it's sad to me. I think Lucy may have been a setup. Ooh, really? I don't know, Liz. We're talking about Lucy Letby again. I don't know. I think that I th I understand what you're saying when you say setup. To me, it feels like they needed a scapegoat because so many babies were dying on their unit. And they were like, "Well, this person's been there every time a baby died, so it must be her." Oh, and she wrote these diaries that say, you know, killed them all, of course. Does anybody know what I just referenced? That's some true crime history for you. Killed them all, of course. Um, there's underlining reasoning and meaning behind the things that she wrote in her diary. She was told to write about how she was feeling, and everybody was making her feel like she had done this. So she wrote those thoughts out. That makes total sense to me. I probably would have done the same thing, but I understand what you're saying by setup. Let's see. Oh, from the UK. A lot of us believe she's absolutely innocent. Filthy wards, inexperienced nurses, absent consultants. Yeah, I haven't yet watched I think it's the ITV or ITN documentary. I have to put a VPN on to be able to watch that, but I did watch the Netflix documentary, Tara, not sure how you pronounce your name. Um, and that's what I'm hearing. It sounds to me like that unit was completely overwhelmed, and there was scientifical and medical reasoning for what happened to those babies. And the idea that they jumped so quickly to schmurder is blows my mind. Um, DCala, thanks for becoming a member. You're lovely. And JE, let's put this one up. Hold on. I gotta find it. Hold on a second. Where did it go? There it is. Journey became a new member. You guys are lovely. Oh, Rob. Thanks, buddy. Rob gifted a membership. I'm so happy about that. I love it. Thank you, Rob. Hold on. Here we go. Let me get back up to these comments. Joey, thanks for the $5. Can we get Microdots to do a video of Lana's truth and transparency points about Lank and JOK's cell phone? I hope so. I would assume they're going to probably do something. It's just too big of a story. And she breaks it down so well. I mean, she's almost meticulous. And the interesting thing, we're talking about the difference between Canton Confidential and Lana's video, and she's inviting people to try to debunk her, which is amazing. So if it can be debunked, bring it, and she's like, she feels so confident that she doesn't think it can be debunked. So we'll see. Tony gifted 5 somethings off memberships. Thank you so much. That's lovely of you. Thank you so much. I want to know who got those memberships. So if you got one, let me know. Okay. Oh, that's very sweet. Yeah, that would drive me nuts too, Jess, like having to ignore the conservative commentary. Although I'm sure people come in here and they're just like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, these liberals are going to fucking start talking about their politics again." So I see both sides of it, but I can't. That's part of the reason why I don't watch a lot of the other streams, because I just can't deal with the um conservative talking points sometimes. But uh let's see, Romado. I was happy to hear your podcast about the nurse. As a nurse, I cannot imagine being charged with that. However, my first belief was not so kind. You helped remind me to open my mind. Honestly, through no fault of your own, Romado, I think everybody thought that. I think everyone thought that Lucy Letby was this heinous child murderer. Um, and I think that it was totally okay to think that, especially if you were covering the case or you were listening to the case when it first came out. It did sound like they had a ton of circumstantial evidence to say that she was this person. But circumstantial evidence is not actual. I mean, it is actual evidence, but it's not physical evidence and it's not scientific evidence. And when I started looking into the scientific evidence, I was like, wait a minute here. And the idea of any innocent person being sentenced for any kind of jail time is beyond me, but let alone Lucy Letby was sentenced to 15, they call it in the UK, they call it whole life sentences, and it literally means life sentence without parole. So what Pamela Smart got, she got it 15 times over. And oof, you got to be right if you're going to convict somebody and sentence them to that. Corri is an angel. Corri is our queen. Oh, wait. Heathland. The handoff is also a minute 19 on the dash cam stream, 2 in the FOIA drive. So let me clarify what you're saying here. The handoff from Carrie Roberts to Mulvaney, or not, it wasn't Mulvaney, it was Gallagher. The handoff from Carrie to Gallagher, or the handoff in the dash cam video where Lank is talking about the phone. Can you just clarify that for me, Heathland? Brittany, we have not heard anything more about Sean Good other than it sounds like he's just skating. He's not really skating. He's just like, I think he's stalling at this point. Kelly Dever did do a good job handling the comm center. She was the only person in the station. Although I will say she got the address wrong. She said it was 32 Fairview instead of 34. Let's see. Yeah. True crime. Maya Rodriguez says true crime on YouTube is in general is very conservative. I had to bite my tongue in a lot of different chats. That's why I appreciate YouTube's no politics rules. Wait, there are no politics rules on YouTube? I didn't know that. Tell me about those rules because I'm about to break all of them probably. One of the other things that I will say is that it is very conservative, and I never understand that because it's about people being hurt. And though I know that there are a lot of conservatives who are back the blue types, and who believe in law enforcement, it feels to me like true crime is a lot more about the victims and oftentimes how those investigations went wrong and didn't help the victims. But who's to say? On that note, speaking of conservatives, Pam Smart's lawyer and I just got a request from Nancy Grace to do an interview, which we're going to say no to, but we are going to put in a statement. But oh my God, Nancy Grace, I can't, I will not. I can't. Let's see. Sad for Diva. I heard all the videos last night. Also, I'm in Middleborough, Massachusetts, and I turned 70 on February 7th. That's my birthday. Happy 70th. You must be crushing it. I love it. Let's see. I think Kelly Dever was gaslit by others about the time she left the station versus the time she clocked out. I believe that wholeheartedly. That is my opinion as well. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Let's see. Okay, Kirks is saying this. Everyone is talking about Lank and Carrie with the phone, completely ignoring that John's phone travels the exact steps, time, and distance in tandem with Jen McCabe's phone. Also, Carrie said phone was given. Yeah, that's the debate. That's what we're trying to figure out here. That's why I want to talk about it because I think it's fascinating that there could be two possibilities, but really there should only be one possibility, and I don't know who's right. To the guy in the ambulance. Oh, to the handoff to the guy in the ambulance. Wait, so Kirks, are you saying that the phone was handed off to the guy in the ambulance by Lank or by Carrie? Um, I mean, Canoni may have, I doubt it. I mean, that was evidentiary. I mean, I guess we'll find out in the sidebars, but no, because I don't remember. We watched all the motions hearings. I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe she did. I don't think she did. I think that they didn't receive it, but that's just my opinion. Let's see. I'm way behind on these comments. Sorry, guys. Mm, yeah, I would agree with this. We're not really sure what happened, but I know the defense didn't have it because they surely would have used that against Kelly Dever. Um, yeah. Kelly Dever took the call from Mr. Reed and was very reassuring to him that they would get help for Karen. Kelly made sure she got his name and phone number so she could update him. This is the thing. I think Kelly Dever was a good person. I think she wanted to do the right thing. I think that's why she told the truth the first time she talked to the FBI and said that Higgins and Berkowitz were in the Sallyport for a wildly long time with the suspect's car. She was trying to do the right thing. And then somebody pressured her, in my opinion, or, you know, they made her feel scared, in my opinion. I'm not really sure, but there's got to be a reason that the Boston Police Commissioner Cox lied about Kelly Dever. Something's off there. Something's off there. I just did it. I think that if Kelly Dever were to come out and tell the truth right now, she'd probably be a hero, just like Officer Barros, because I do think that she had the right intentions. I do think she was trying to be a good cop. I do think she was trying to do the right thing. And then that thin blue line and that big blue wall came up and it crushed her. And she was worried about her job. She was worried about her livelihood, her reputation. She was a minority in the force. And she got pressured. And that's why I feel bad for her, honestly. Uh let's see. Let's see. So many people are like, I don't feel bad for them. I get it. I mean, I understand, a woman's life was on the line. Karen Reed's life was on the line. I get it. I don't feel bad for Carrie or Deborah, Melissa says. They were both in bad, different situations, but both prepared to lie. And Deborah's attitude on Stan was beyond embarrassing. It was. She reminded me a lot of Pam Bondi, actually. Okay. The problem is, this is a good point. Thanks, Amy. The problem is in mass, they have to turn over impeachment documents so then the prosecution can get it out before it can be used as impeachment. Agreed. But I don't think that this audio didn't come out. This should have been they should have been able to use this as impeachment. The Dever audio, of course. Do you think they lied or they believed what they were saying? If by they you mean Carrie and Dever, I think that probably in the beginning it started out as a lie, and then once you tell that lie enough times, you start to believe it. That's my take on it, but let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I have a hard time with Carrie. I have a hard time with her because she's so self-righteous about all this. Um, I feel bad. I think the two things can exist at the same time for me. I can feel bad for these people like Kelly Dever and Carrie and still think that what they did was shit human being behavior. That's the way I look at it. So, okay, let's see. Will Denise be called in? This is an interesting question. Jelly Tots. Will Denise be called in to the civil trial? Think a lot more people should be called and phone data included. Who knows? I mean, like I said, they have 60 plus depositions to do of all these witnesses. And what Peter Tragos was saying that is they may have 60 plus depositions that they're naming right now. But once they start doing those depositions and those people start talking, they're going to have even more people to talk to. So those depositions could turn into like 100 because you do one deposition and then you go, oh, they just told us another story in this deposition and that person's not on our list and we need to talk to that person. So that's another deposition. Who knows? I mean, they should be talking to everybody. We are all Aquarians. It is the age of Aquarius. Beningo. Somebody should send this video to her and just be like, help Mel out, please. And while I'm thinking about it, if you guys could all go like this video, I would appreciate it. You're the best. There's 251 of you in here, and that makes my heart happy. My sense is that Peggy thinks KR is responsible even if she only dropped him off. Yeah. I think you're right. I think that one of her biggest things was like, how could you drop my drunk son off and then leave him there? I mean, that was Peggy's thing. And so at the end of the day, Peggy's always going to think that whatever happened, that Karen is responsible for it. Let's see. Okay, let me get through. Peg is going to blame Karen for flirting with Higgy. I think you're right, Rhonda. Yeah, so this is what we're talking about here. My stepdad's, this is from Journeys of Peace. My stepdad's nephew was unalived in a violent way. It does awful things. And the father is one of my stepdad's most jovial brothers. It was senseless. One other man, a father, unalived also. I'm really sorry to hear that. That sounds traumatic and horrible. And it is really difficult to move into forgiveness territory when those things happen, for sure. Oh, here's Maya. I used to be a plaintiff's lawyer who took cases on contingency. I would never take the O'Keefe case. Ever, ever, ever. Even if I didn't believe there was a giant cover up, I wouldn't take it. Yeah, I think that's what we're all starting to understand, Maya. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts and opinions about why you wouldn't take the case. To me, it feels like the plaintiff's lawyers took on the O'Keefe case because it was in the news, because it was such a big deal at the time. But the idea that there was a mistrial and then she was acquitted, and then there are forensic scientists who worked for the government saying there's no possibility that the car hit John or that John hit the car. I don't know. I feel like they're looking for a payday, but I'm like, where's the money coming from? They don't have any money. So it's so strange to me. Let's see. Hey, Clara. I just think that Karen's team knew every aspect of the case, and there's no way that Lank having the phone went under their radar, especially if that was Alessi's department. I agree. I mean, Alessi was so he was so good with the data. He understood it so well. I just think it's a really interesting conversation, and I think that some of the points that Lana makes, I think that's a great point that you're making, and I would agree with you. Alessi is a rock star and knew that case inside and out. But this video really made me start thinking, and so we're gonna talk about it. Aw. Hey, you know what? I am so glad you're here, Miss Jessica. I love that you are like, I'm a conservative, but I love your show so much. Listen, I'm a liberal, and this is what I always try to say about Turtle Boy. I think he can be an asshole. I think he is um childish sometimes. I really respect the work that he did. And so he's conservative, I'm liberal. We actually can sit down and have those conversations about what we believe though. And anybody who's willing to sit down and not like chastise the other side or not like scream and yell at them or talk over them or only use talking points to get your points across, like I'm open to that. I want to talk to people from the other side. I want to understand where you're coming from. And I hope that you'll listen and understand where I'm coming from. So, hey, Jessica, that's amazing. Thanks so much for saying that. I appreciate that. Okay. So this is what the main question is, Jeno. The glarer, this was in response to the glarer, agreeing with your comment. And how would it have gotten to Lank in the first place without steps in between? That's sort of some of the stuff that Lana is breaking down in this video. She is basically positing that because Lank was so close to the McAlberts, especially the Alberts, he had helped them in the past with, I think, Chris Albert, some of his issues and he lived literally 3-4 minutes down the road, that they brought him into this early on. That's what Lana is positing. And that basically he came into the house, and they told him what happened and they gave him the phone. That's what's happened. That's what they're saying is happening. I don't know if that's true. But there's some data there that shows that it could be. So I think we should look into it. Let's see. I feel sorry for the children too. I wish I knew more about what was happening with them. And knowing that, the daughter is like a teenager now and probably having a really rough time going through their teen years. Yeah, it's really sad. Okay. Letby. Yes. Okay, I think I'm mostly caught up. Maybe I'm not. Oh, good. The Glarer got Tony gave the Glarer a membership, and Jen got one. I love it. And Jelly Tots got one. This is amazing. Okay. Let's see. I keep just like staring at the screen. I'm sure that's fun to watch. Okay. I'm going to hold off on the comments. I'm going to come back to everybody. I'm going to give you a breakdown of the way I understand Lana's video. Okay. So basically, in this video, let me put it hold on, let me find it and put it in the comments. Truth and transparency. And here we go. Live. Okay. I am going to put a link to the video, and I would love it if you all would go and watch it at some point. I'd watch it on maybe double, 1.5 speed. It's like a 38-minute video. Here is the link. You don't have to watch it, but try to watch it before we talk about it again on Thursday. Rebecca and I are really going to try to break it down. So, okay, let me give you a little Cliff Notes version or the way that I understand it. So basically, Lana did this video to prove using step data, dash cams, radio timestamps that Lank physically possessed John O'Keefe's cell phone before and during his arrival at 34 Fairview, which contradicts the official narratives about where and when the phone was recovered. Now, if you remember, Carrie Roberts said she found John's phone under his body and she handed it off to some law enforcement or possibly an EMT, possibly a firefighter. She doesn't remember. That's what she testified to in the first trial and maybe even the second trial. So basically, the methodology that Lana's using is she's combining John O'Keefe's phone step data, including stare detection, because there was some stare detection, and that happens after Lank goes in the house. Dash cams from Officer Good, Mulvaney, and Seraph, interior cruiser audio, radio transmissions, especially Officer Devers, arrival timestamps for each officer, known locations of each person at specific moments. If someone, so they then she eliminates candidates by using a rule that is basically if someone's walking while John's phone is not moving, they cannot be holding John's phone. Okay, so that's like her premise. And she's narrowing down who could physically have the phone by comparing when the phone records steps, when specific officers or civilians are visibly moving on camera. So if a person is walking during a 0-step period on John's phone, they're eliminated. So because of that, Lana is excluding, as far as I understand it, Carrie Roberts, Jen McCabe, Officer Good, Officer Seraph, and Mulvaney. And so that kind of leaves Sergeant Lank. So let me see if I can break this down for you. I have a bunch of notes here. Hold on. So John O'Keefe's phone is motionless from 6:21 to 6:26, and then it begins moving at exactly 6:26:17. At that exact same timestamp, Sergeant Lank's vehicle arrives on the scene, and Lank exits his truck and starts walking, and that's all captured on I think it's Sean Good's dash cam. So John's phone begins moving precisely when Lank gets out of his vehicle. And she's arguing that just prior to that, there were no steps, and that was because Lank was driving. So he gets to 34 Fairview. He's right down the road. The vehicle arrives. He exits. The phone immediately starts registering steps. He arrived, and she's saying that means he arrived already carrying John O'Keefe's phone. So here's the interesting bits. Between 6:04 and 6:11 a.m., John's phone records 432 steps. Then there's about a 4-minute dead zone, which would be consistent with vehicle travel, and 4 minutes is how far away Lank lives from the Alberts. So someone walked with the phone, then got into a vehicle, drove for 4 minutes, and arrived at Fairview. That's what Lana is saying. So John's phone was picked up before police officially arrived on the scene. That's what she's saying. There's another sort of crucial moment too. So 6:34 a.m. to 6:36 a.m. At 6:34, John's phone goes completely still for 1 minute 45 seconds. Simultaneously, Lank is seen getting into Officer Seraph's cruiser. Oh, it's Seraph's cruiser. Sorry. Officer Seraph's cruiser. While Lank is seated in the cruiser, John's phone registers 0 movement. When Lank exits, John's phone immediately resumes movement. This is presented as like just more confirmation, basically. Wherever Lank goes, the phone follows, is what Lana is saying. And here's the crazy bit. It's nuts. It's nuts to me, and I don't know if it's nuts to you guys, but I'm gonna try to play this bit for you too, because it's just a few seconds of the video. There's audio recorded on the dash cam. So inside Seraph's cruiser, Lank is captured on audio saying things like, "Is this your phone? I think that's his phone. I have the suspect's phone." Lank, it sounds like, and Lana is positing that he's performatively, like he's pretending to discover that a phone is in the cruiser, despite step data showing the phone was actively moving with him beforehand. And Lana's saying basically that this was staged for the dash cam. And honestly, in my opinion, it sounds that way too, but who knows? So here's another interesting bit. At one point, I think it's Lank who says it. I'm not really sure, but they say, "Should we go and talk to those people in the doorway?" Meaning the Alberts, their house. Should we go talk to them? So between 6:36 and 6:43, John's phone records 192 steps, right? So then from 6:43 to 6:55, the phone is stationary for 12 minutes, consistent with, sitting down at a table and talking to some possible witnesses. During this window, the phone also registers a flight of stairs. So Lank testified he did not go upstairs or downstairs once he was inside 34 Fairview, but the phone data says otherwise. So whoever had that phone during that time that Lank was inside the house whoever had that phone, it seems like they might have also been in the house and they went up or down a flight of stairs. I don't know. You tell me. So let's see. Okay. Oh, and then after all this is when they start taping off the scene. So the steps on John's phone also match Lank taping off the scene. The steps match Lank walking around the property. The steps pause when Lank stops. The steps resume when Lank moves. So at 8:26 a.m., John O'Keefe's phone records another flight of stairs. Minutes later, 8:31, Sergeant Lank places a call from Canton PD to Good Samaritan Hospital asking about John O'Keefe. So he's, for some reason, at 8:31 in the morning, Lank, for some reason, is the one who's calling Good Samaritan Hospital. I don't know if, and maybe someone in the chat can answer this for me. I don't know if this time period, if Canton PD was already conflicted out. If they were, Sergeant Lank should have be calling Good Samaritan to ask about John's well-being. And so during this time when John's phone records another flight of stairs, the stair event matches Lank entering Canton PD, and Lana is saying the phone is still with him, and then he uses the same phone to make the hospital call. One of the things that also happened in the car that stuck out to me when he's talking to the other officer on dash cam is he says something along the lines of, I'm going to take a picture of this screen, meaning the phone that he's holding, which is John's phone as far as Lana is concerned. So basically, to break it all down, this is what Lana is positing, and I want you all to be the judge of it. You need to make your own conclusions. It was compelling to me, but I would love to hear someone try to debunk this, because I want to hear, other sides to this. But basically, Lank had John's phone before arriving at Fairview, which means someone, if that's true, someone gave him the phone before he got to Fairview. And the only way that could have happened is if someone, because it wasn't Carrie, someone from the house gave him the phone. Now, Carrie testified that she had the phone and she found it under John's body, and she gave it to one of the medical people or firefighters or officers on the scene, but she doesn't remember who. And there is the other dash cam video that looks like Carrie handing off the phone to, I believe it's Gallagher. So Lana is basically, her analysis is that Lank carried John's phone throughout the scene. He brought it inside the house. He took it up and downstairs. He transported it to the Canton PD. He used it to call the hospital. I don't think he used it to call the hospital. I don't think she said that. That was maybe a wrong note on my part. So this is putting Lank, this places Lank in possession of the evidence, obviously, inconsistent with official recovery timelines, actively attempting to obscure the fact on the dash cam. And let's keep in mind that Lank is also the one who wrote the reports where he got Brian Albert's name wrong, or changed Brian Albert's name so that you couldn't identify him. And I believe he also put the wrong address on the reports. Lank has always been someone that I'm very interested to know more about, because basically he was all over this case, all over it. And he was heavily involved with the McAlberts and very close to the family. And I don't know, I find that very interesting. So let me see if I can pull up. I want to pull up the parts where Lank is in the car so you can hear what he has to say. So hold on, let me just pull up Lana's video real quick. Let's see. Is this it? Okay. Well, I don't know. She's got some info in here about Carrie. Let's just watch this play out for a little bit. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Are you guys bored? Okay. Share screen. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let me rewind this just a little bit. A little bit. Up. Yeah. Let's back up.
Right there. When he rides.
Okay.
He's walking with John O'Keefe's phone. Now, I found it pretty hard to believe that that person would be Carrie Roberts, seeing that Carrie Roberts was on top of him, giving chest compressions. Next, 6:15, or I'm sorry, from 6:11 and 30 seconds until 6:15 and 14 seconds, John O'Keefe's phone does not take any steps. Okay, so if somebody is walking around, they couldn't possibly at that point in time have John O'Keefe's phone. 6:15 and 14 seconds to 6:21 and 21 seconds, John O'Keefe takes 180, or his phone takes 180 steps. This is what I was able to do to eliminate Carrie Roberts from. She just does not take 180 steps during that period of time.
This is
so let's
interesting.
say, oh, Lana, maybe the counter was just off a little bit. Well, it has to be off kind of a lot. But okay, we'll give it to you. I did the math here on all the timestamps. It was 30 steps in the first minute, 40 steps in the second minute, 18, 22, and 16. You can go ahead and add all that up. That is far short of 180. Next, during this period of time from 6:21 until 6:25, John O'Keefe's phone, you can see the X is there.
Speed this.
He doesn't take any steps or his phone doesn't take any steps. And then you can see here, I'm going to take myself off the screen. I'm going to zoom in and show you that. Now, at 6:21 to 6:25, this is John O'Keefe's steps. So take a look. Here.
I want to get to the dash cam. Hold on.
Here's the video.
Okay.
From Good Scam Review. So in order for me to talk about 6:26 time frame, I have to go to the 13-minute mark of the video. If you go to the 13-minute mark of the video, which I'm doing right now, okay, you're going to see, okay, 13:01. There's a vehicle that is approaching the scene. And this is at 13:07. You can see this vehicle approaching the scene. This is none other than Sergeant Lank.
Okay.
Now, what happens here? Sergeant Lank gets out of the vehicle. Holy shit. Literally at the same timestamp, and I'm going to show you, at the same timestamp that Lank gets out of the vehicle and starts walking, guess what John O'Keefe's phone starts doing? At 6:26 and 17 seconds, John O'Keefe's phone starts moving. Don't believe me? Check it out. (6:26 and 17 seconds), John O'Keefe's phone starts moving. See that? See how it did not move from 6:21 and 21 seconds to 6:26 and 17 seconds? Well, guess what happens when you get into a car and you drive over from your house to 34 Fairview?
All right, let me get to the dash cam. Hold on. This is the video I want you guys all to watch. I want to know your opinion on it, and hopefully Thursday we will.
Or dash cam, rather. Now,
okay.
Like I said, Lank is arriving and just arrived, and he walks up to Mulvaney's.
There's Lank.
Let's back up. Right there. When he arrives,
there's Lank. And he's
I look over and over if I could see a pass off from anybody in Mulvaney. Does he pass him off a phone right there? And I was like, wait, that's not Mulvaney. That's Good. Remember this whole thing about supposedly passing off a phone? Nope. Good just comes over to him. Then there's Lank. And now if you switch over to Officer Serif's dash cam, you're going to see them all huddled up in front of. So here, Karen Reed goes into the vehicle, but you're going to see them all huddled up. So what I had to pay attention to is does Lank get in 173 steps? And he's passed the vehicle on a couple of times, but if you watch from Officer Serif's dash cam, you can see that Lank is definitely going back and forth. Because then here you go, he backs up because he's going to let a vehicle go through. And I was like, I'm not able to count the steps, so I'm going to have to use the next batch. So then I go to.
All right, let me get to. I really want you guys to hear what happens while he's in.
And that's when he gets her at 6:09. So if you take.
When he's in the. All right, here it is. So
if you take 6:09, you can time all these up, just like Alan Jackson did. And then so I have to fast forward this, and you have to go to the timestamp of 33:57.
Does he have drug problem?
Okay.
Does he do drugs?
And if you go to. Right there. Okay, 33:57. Now, this is equivalent to John O'Keefe's Phone stopping with any movement from 6:34 in 44 seconds to 6:36 in 16 seconds. So I have a minute and 40 seconds of downtime when his phone is not moving. John O'Keefe's, okay? Now check this out. The same time that Officer Lank stops moving and gets into a vehicle, which is Seraph's right here. At that same time, John O'Keefe's cell phone stops moving.
Okay.
Not sure if he's been.
Okay.
I'm just responding to a scene.
That's what happens in this 1 minute and 40 second exchange.
Yeah, this is really interesting to me.
For you. Good. So I'm just responding to a scene now. We have a Boston police officer that was just found in the snow here, and does have some trauma to his head. Not sure if he's been in a fight or whatever. Our medics don't believe he's going to make it. I'm doing my best to try to preserve some sort of a scene down here, but it's fucking brutal, you know, with the weather. Yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned that he's a Boston police officer also.
I'm going to section her so we know where she is.
Oh, that's the one that kills me. I've been talking about this all day.
Yes, sir.
Let me just rewind. Let me rewind. Hold on.
So I was able to determine that Good didn't have the phone here.
Okay. This is what Lank, I don't know who says this. I don't know which officer says it. But what they say is, I'm going to go ahead and section her so we know where she is. I'm just going to play that for you again.
Yes, sir. Sergeant Lank, LA.
So I was able to.
But yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned that he's a Boston police officer also.
Listen.
I'm going to section her so we know where she is. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just pause here for just a second. We're going to get into a little bit more information. I don't know, and someone can maybe correct me in the comments. I don't know what time Mr. Reed called and asked for and said, you know, like, we're worried about Karen. She's talking about killing herself. And so she was then sectioned at some point. One of these officers, regardless of that, just said, we're going to go ahead and section her so we can know where she is. I have an issue with that because it's one thing to section her because her dad is saying that she is, you know, suicidal. That's one thing. But the way that this officer says it, we're going to go ahead and section her to know where she is. That's not a reason to section somebody. So either you're sectioning her because her dad says she's suicidal, or you're sectioning her because you want to keep her under your control. I guess it could be both things, but for that to be said is astounding to me. And everybody has pointed out to me on Twitter, thank you, that her dad called and said, so she should have been sectioned. I get that. But then the cop should have been like, her dad says she's, you know, suicidal. We need to section her. Not, we need to section her so we know where she is. What the fuck? Okay, there's more. Now I just wanted to get that little point in there. Okay, so
pay attention to what Officer Lank is about to fucking do.
Listen to this.
Yes. No, it is not. Yep. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Thanks. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, here it comes.
Stevie, I'm just going to take a picture of. Is this your screen here, Steve? Is this your phone that I'm looking at? No. Why you want it? No, I'm going to take a picture of it.
Officer Lank just plays so fucking dirty and plays it off to Steven Seraph and says, hey, is this your phone? He's like, is this your screen? I'm just going to take a picture. Is this your screen? Is this your phone? No, that's not my phone. Ready? And you guys should all be wondering, like, wait, huh? He's playing dumb and trying to make it seem like, because he's got a car radio in there. He knows the dash cam's on. He knows it's audio. Okay. And he is trying to sell it like there's this phone that's just in Officer Seraph's vehicle. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Listen to what else he does.
I think that's not his phone, Mike. 682.
And then Seraph says, I think that's his phone. I think that's his phone.
Do you have his phone?
Do you have his phone? And like, who's he? You know what I mean? Who's he? Listen to what Lank says.
Phone, Mike. 682. Do you have his phone?
I have the suspect.
I have the suspect. What? I have the suspect's phone?
Yeah.
What? What, Lank? What? So, huh?
Phone, Mike. 682. Do you have his phone?
I have the suspect. Sir. Kelly, go again.
Now, I was able to correlate this with
Kelly
Devers radio transmissions, okay?
Yeah, Kelly Devers.
So I was able to time all this up a second way to make sure that he was actually in the vehicle when I think that he's in the vehicle, right? So it was like a triple way that I checked. And that was through Officer Devers' radio communications. Thumbs up. He's in the vehicle during the downtime in this little window. Okay. When Officer John O'Keefe's phone is not moving. Then I cannot make this up. Again, I encourage you to debunk this. Here it goes.
Thank you. Do you want to talk to the front door?
Yeah, is yours?
Do you want to go talk to them at the front door? And then Lank says right then, he says, is this yours? Is this yours? Asking how good about this phone. Watch this. I'll let you listen to it again.
Do you want to talk to the front door?
Yeah, is yours?
Nope. Might be ladies.
It might be one of the ladies. Nope.
Mhm.
It might be one of the ladies.
Nope.
Okay. So now you have to throw into the equation Jennifer McCabe's cell phone. Okay. Not Carrie Roberts, because I saw Carrie Roberts physically on her cell phone. And remember, I told you guys that I know for a fact that Jennifer McCabe separates from her phone because her iWatch goes up a flight of stairs and her phone does not when she goes in that house at 6:35 and some change. Because like literally she makes a phone call with that cell phone.
Okay. So I'll stop. Let's see. I will stop the video there. I think it's worth watching. I think it's worth coming up with your own conclusions and what you think actually happened. Now I want to bring up the Canton Confidential. I don't know what happened here, but this is okay. I'm about 55. Let me see if I can share this. Sunday Night Live. All right, let's see what they have to say.
I am Rain Man on this. Okay. If we watch closely, people, I'll play it back. Watch closely. Here we go. Can we make this full screen? Can we make this one full screen? Yeah, we can. Let me make this full screen first. Here we go. And let's get rid of that. Right? Let's watch because you need to see it at the bottom of the screen.
Right,
Watch the bottom left corner of this screen.
Okay.
Here we go. Did you see it?
Yep.
Play it again.
Here we go.
Bottom left corner.
From the bottom, starting at the bottom left corner.
Oh, whose phone
And I'll
is it?
pause it right when the handoff goes.
Oh, the handoff.
Bam. See it? I
Yeah.
paused it. She's passing. You guys see it? She's passing the phone.
Yeah.
Another view I saw today. It looks like a different angle where you can only see the police officer. You didn't see her, but you could see him reach out and grab it.
Right.
That's her hand right there.
But then what?
I'll keep playing it
whose
back
phone
real
is it?
slow. Here we go.
Does it match the steps?
Yeah, you could definitely see the handoff.
Yeah. There's the handoff. That's at 6:31.
Okay.
6:31.
6:31.
There's the phone. Yep.
Okay, let me look at my notes. So 6:31. Let's see. So 6:36, 6:34. Okay. So the only notes that I have from Lana's video are 6:04 to 6:11 a.m., which records 432 steps. Then there's a 4-minute dead zone. And then Lank drives for 4 minutes, arrives at Fairview. And then the cruiser moment happens 6:34 to 6:36. So at 6:34, John's phone goes completely still for 1 minute, 45 seconds. I don't know. I mean, we would have to know, the things that we would have to know is the phone that Carrie is handing to, I think it's Gallagher. Is that John's phone? Is it her phone? Is it Karen's phone? We don't know. And then what is Lank talking about in the car when he's asking about the phone that he's holding? Those are the questions I have. What about you? Okay. We're going to take a minute on that. Let me get through some of the chat and we'll get back to it in a second. I want to hear what you all have to say. I'm really behind on the... let's see. Oh, thanks, Tony. That's really sweet of you to say. Chronically Challenged. I also put in the links, or I put in the comments, a link to the In Between podcast, which is the podcast that I covered Pam's case on. I don't have a YouTube channel for the In Between podcast. I probably should, but I don't because I already have too many YouTube channels right now. And let's see. Rebel CC became a new member and we love you for it. Thank you, love. Let's see. Okay, good. You got it. Yeah, I should have said that when I was on Emily's channel, that it's not a YouTube channel, it's a podcast. So I have just the audio on basically wherever you get your podcast. You can listen to the In Between podcast with Mel Barrett. You can also join the Patreon and get ad free and like bonus episodes and all that stuff. So it's all in there. But the first season of Pam Smart is the first, I think it's 8 episode regular seasons on the In Between. So you have to go all the way back. And then there's a bunch of bonus episodes. And I try to update as often as I get information about Pam's case, you know, and like we check in with each other a couple times a week usually. And I'm really close to her lawyer, Matt. So we talk quite a bit. I do actually have a bit of news. So I have a tentative date for the Nightline special that I'm in about Pam's case. And right now it is scheduled for next Thursday, the 26th. I say tentative because these things change all the time. It's already been pushed like 2 weeks. So the 26th is when I am hoping to watch it for the first time, which I'm a little bit scared about. Also, as I mentioned the other day to Rebecca, I am wearing mustard yellow, which is not a color that I ever wear. But they said it looked good, so I wore it. I'm not happy about it, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, next Thursday, the 26th, hopefully the Nightline special comes out. I think it's going to also be on Good Morning America, or at least teased on Good Morning America. This is all very strange to me. These are not the circles that I move in normally. I come from independent film and I work in independent podcasting. So these major networks, it's kind of freaking me out. It was pretty cool to be at ABC News, though, I have to say. I mean, there was like, I was walking past like wall size photos of Diane Sawyer and stuff like that. So, yes, Kirks. This is interesting. I know that you guys are all debating. Just keep it nice in the chat. Carrie testified to handing the phone to an ambulance driver that took to Karen. It was her buddy from around the corner where she lives. Sorry, I'm behind, so my original comment just came up on the screen. In her, I think in trial 1 though, Kirks, Carrie said she couldn't remember who she gave it to. But it was somebody on the scene. So maybe that changed. I think maybe that changed into trial 2. And then it sounds like her story is changing again when she sits down with the coven. So we'll see. Okay. Yeah, this is one of the things that really stuck out to me. Bite my bits. I really love saying your name. I'm sorry. I just love it. Bite my bits. Oh, see, you know what? This is why I love you guys. Like, I love that there are so many moderates and conservatives in our listener group and watcher group, because it means that you can see me as a human being and I can see you as a human being. That's all I really want. You know, we got to stop dehumanizing the other side. Let's see. This is an interesting point. I've always wondered this myself. What do the experts say about steps being recorded and performing CPR? Any correlation? As far as I understand it, from what Carrie testified to, John's phone was underneath him while they were doing CPR. And if what Kirks is saying is right, that Carrie handed it off to the ambulance driver, the phone wouldn't have recorded any steps or anything else while it was in the ambulance. So I don't know. I don't know. But I think that if you guys think that you have a case to debunk this to Lana, you should probably do that, because she's open to it. She wants to talk about it. And I think it's good for all of us to get to to not have these conclusions because something is salacious, or have these conclusions because it fits in with either our conspiracy theory or our confirmation bias. Like, I'm the first to admit, when I saw Lana's video, I was like, oh shit, there it is, you know? But then when I started doing a little bit more research and I did compare it to, I mean, I knew about this dash cam video of Carrie handing off a phone. I still don't know whose phone it was. So if Carrie is testifying that she gave it to an ambulance driver, then either she didn't remember correctly or she lied, because I mean, well, if that was John's phone that she handed to Gallagher. So like, what is the truth? That's what we're all trying to figure out here. Yeah, see, this is the thing I don't get. This is the thing I don't get. One of the most compelling bits about that, the dash cam audio that Lana played is this like performative thing that Lank is doing, asking everybody, "Hey, is this your phone? Is this your phone? I'm going to take a picture of this screen. Do you know whose phone this is? Oh, maybe it's one of the ladies." He has to know where where'd the phone come from? He didn't just find it in the car. Like, where did it come from? And if he's having to ask if he's having to ask the question, where did this phone come from? How did he get it? Did he get into someone's cruiser and just pick up a phone? Because that's not cool. Where did it come from? Who handed it to him? How did he get it? And why is he asking whose phone it is? It belongs to. You know, I just, yeah, it really sticks out to me. Oh, I love this, you guys. Thank you so much for telling us this. Like, I don't think we would know all this if you didn't tell us. You know what I mean? It's so nice to hear that you're here for the content and because we try to be open. I mean, I know we talk about politics. I know that you guys know that I am liberal leaning. Although I will say I was brought up libertarian. I grew up in New Hampshire and live free or fucking die. So I have libertarian sensibilities, but I'm also socially liberal because it's my life. I have been a part of the LGBTQ community my entire life. And so it's important to me that people have rights and that our rights are honored and upheld. And so that makes me, I think, a little bit more liberal, but I don't know. I think honestly, we got to get rid of the parties altogether. This is out of control. That's a whole other tangent. Kelly Dever is still in danger if she dares to speak out. Oh, that's interesting. Not a coincidence. Barros and Gorino ended up in accidents to people. I don't know about that. I don't know about their accidents. But okay. Yeah, he's acting like the phone was in Seraph's cruiser. And it's like, if you get into someone else's car and there's a phone sitting there, do you just pick it up and then the person who owns the car or the person who drives the car gets in and they're like, "Oh, is this your phone?" And they're like, "No." And you're like, where'd this one come from? You don't just pick up someone's phone and ask if it's theirs. That's so weird. Oh, here's the answer to the CPR question. I'm a nurse. My phone has never registered CPR as steps. My watch has asked me if I was working out, but never steps. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I didn't know about Gorino's accident. I did know about Gorino's accident. I didn't know about Barros' accident. That makes me sad. I love that guy. Okay. I'm not 100%. Mac Dickles says, I'm not 100%. Lank says subjects or suspects phone there. That's a good point. CPD had 4 phones for department use, according to testimony, or the audit I remember. Could there have been a sergeant's phone? That's the problem. We don't know. Whose phone is it? And why is he handling it? Like, why would you wouldn't go sit in someone's car and then just pick up a random phone and be like, "This yours?" And then for the person to be like, "No," and then be like, I wonder where this phone, I don't know. The whole thing's strange to me. The ridiculous theories about the phones are insane. iPhones have a barometer in them. Health data would be an entire con if it wasn't accurate and bankrupt the. Well, I have heard that, some health data is kind of a con. So, yeah. I mean, Debbie, here's the thing. I mean, if what Lana is positing is right, he could have come over. They could have called him over. Like, it would be interesting to know about their call logs. Or you're right, somebody could have walked over there. Or Caitlin, when Caitlin left and, in my opinion, took Chloe with her, could have stopped by. Everyone was stopping by Lank's house, including Jen McCabe and Carrie. So it's like everybody knew this guy. Everybody was connected to this guy. So what's going on here? This is what we are trying to answer, Jen. This is what we're all trying to answer. The answer to this question, in my opinion, is that why would they have given him the phone? Heathland Forever says, why not keep it with John? Because it had that data on it, that sensitive data. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, who knows what was in John's phone? They could have been trying to protect Higgins. Like, who knows? I don't know. That's a good question, though. Okay. Yeah, see, this was my question. Why is Lank calling over to Good Sam if Canton was already conflicted out? I mean, if we can verify that, I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, he called over at 8:30 in the morning to Good Sam, but I believe Canton PD was already conflicted out at that point. That doesn't mean they did. I mean, like, it didn't stop Berkowitz from driving by and, finding taillight and all that shit. But it's like, okay, let's see. Okay. I'm being quiet. There's space. What? There's always more than one way to get to the same place. That is very profound. Oh, I agree with this. Wendy. Okay, let me see. I got to get down here a little bit more. Okay, it doesn't matter what time Mr. Reed called. It sounds like she doesn't meet the legal criteria. It's not just being suicidal, must have actual intent to act. It's a really good point. And this of all the things in all the videos that have come out recently, this moment where I don't know if it's Seraph or Sean Good or who it is that says, or Lank, who says it, we're going to section her so we know where she is not a good enough reason to section somebody. And it sounds to me like they kind of wanted to get Karen into custody so they could keep tabs on her and not, I mean, I assume that she was saying things like, I want to, off myself because John is dead. I get that. And I get the fear that must have been going through her parents' minds. And that's why they reached out to the cops. That's why they were like, she needs to be sectioned. But for a cop to say, we want to section her, we're going to section her so we know where she is not right in my book. So I'm going to keep pounding that point home because it sticks out to me and I don't like it. He didn't do much scene preserving. He's sitting in the car. He's like, I gotta preserve this scene. It's a fucking mess. We're in a blizzard, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't done a goddamn thing to preserve that scene until he starts putting up crime scene tape after they talk to the house defendants. Yeah, I don't remember seeing this either. So most of the stuff that we're seeing in this last batch, I don't recall seeing ever most of it or hearing most of it in trial 1 or 2. So where the F did it come from? And why are we all seeing it for the first time? And I have a very difficult time believing that if the defense had all of this stuff, especially this audio of Lank on the phone in the car, that they wouldn't have used it. Where did it come from? Why are we just seeing it now? And why wasn't it turned over? I mean, because is there a world where it was turned over? Does anybody believe that? Is there a world where all of this discovery was turned over to the defense and they didn't use it? That's a question. It's my opinion that that's insane. Later on, they say, Psych Justice says, later on, they say Karen doesn't meet criteria for Section 12 because she doesn't have intent. Doesn't matter what her parents say. KR has to meet the legal criteria. Agreed. I don't like the idea that a cop says, we're going to section her so we know where she is. That doesn't meet the legal criteria at all. I mean, I get it. But I think that they were already starting to think, Romodo, am I saying that right? Romodo. I think they wanted to make sure she was safe with everything else going on. I think that is, I mean, this is my brain not trusting the cops in this situation. My instinct is that they were already trying to figure out how to keep her in custody because they were already suspecting her, but I don't know. Maybe that's just my confirmation bias showing. We know where she is, not we know she's safe. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we know where she is. Yeah, exactly. Stevie, I'm just going to take a picture. Okay. You know what I wish? I wish also, going back to enough snow on the ground to track a cat, there had to be footprints all over the place, right? Before the cops got there, there had to be footprints. That would have been, I think, one of the first things that I would have looked at as a cop. I would have been like, okay, this guy's dead in the snow. He looks like he's been beaten up. There's blood everywhere, or at least there's some blood. He's missing his shoe. He's missing a hat. He doesn't have a warm jacket on. Everybody stop moving. Like, can we see any footsteps? Did anybody walk in this area? We need to start looking at footprints, all that stuff. They were so upset about the snow and the snow covering up evidence and all that shit. The snow could have helped them, and they just didn't use it, Carrie says, what about when Lank says we have the suspects home at 6:30 a.m.? Yeah. So who's the suspect? Who are we talking about? That's a great question. Okay, let's see. I am a civil rights lawyer specializing in mental health law, and the fact that CPD section Karen sounds an awful lot like a Fourth Amendment violation. Yeah, I mean, if legally she didn't fit being sectioned, and also they're like, let's keep an eye on her. I don't know. It's the thing that stuck out to me. I'll be honest with you. It's the thing that stuck out to me the most in the video. Besides, like, the possibility of Lank having the phone, I was like, what are these cops doing? Why are they saying this? And they know it's being recorded, right? They know that. I don't know. Is she? I mean, she may have been. I don't know. It depends on what at the time Jen McCabe was saying and what Carrie was saying, because these are all their friends. Like, these cops that are showing up, Lank, probably good. Like, all these people were their friends. So what are they saying? That thing that women of a certain age do where they're like, I don't know, I think she probably did it. Like that kind of thing, like under their breath, like, don't tell anybody I'm telling you this. But yeah. Could it be a sergeant's phone is so truncated? Facts. Yeah, I know. I have the suspect's phone. What does that mean? What does it mean? Yeah, facts. I mean, the thing is, we don't know for sure because we don't have transcripts. We weren't there. He could have said subject. He could have been saying subject as in John. I mean, if he's saying subject, that's even worse. That's John's phone. That might be the discrepancy with the phone temps. Any way to match that up? I would love to know the answer to that question too, Wendy. That's a great question. The phone temps were so interesting to me because, it was obvious that the phone was under John's body at some point. And based on the temperature, that makes sense, right? Kirk says, Sarah Davies. Yes, that's true. Jen and Nicole said they didn't talk. Microdots proved they did at 6:08 a.m. He enhanced the audio phone, also proves it was an answer. It was answered. One of the Microdots videos, and this is me being a conspiracy theorist, but one of the Microdots videos that always sticks out to me is the video. It was early on when they analyze Jen's call when she calls Nicole, and it's picked up on Karen's phone, which is in the backseat recording the voicemail on John's phone. And there's that whispered moment that none of us can really make out. I would love to know what she actually says. Microdots did a good job, but it's also conspiracy. So if anybody has any opinions on that, if you know what I'm talking about, it's fascinating to me, and I would love to know what she's actually saying in that moment. Let's see. Can Confidential has Carrie handing off to Lank or some CP? Well, okay. Let's talk about this. At 6:31, you're saying. Okay. So if Carrie hands the phone off to Lank, then he didn't have it before he got there. Okay, that makes sense. But then why is he saying what he's saying in the car? Because he would know whose phone it is. So why is he pretending to not know? That's my question. If that's true, I want to understand that. Yes, agreed, Rose. He took a photo of the phone, so it would be good to see that. I would really like to see where that photo is. Maybe he's going to be deposed in these civil trials. Who knows? Carrie testifies that she did. Yeah, Carrie testifies that she did, but she also testified she's got 3 stories. Go back and watch her testimony about the phone and cross-examination specifically in trial 1, trial 2, and then what she said in the grand jury and what she's saying now. It's all over the place. And the only thing I can think about is it's because she's been manipulated and used and she doesn't remember what the story is anymore. And she's trying to say whatever makes her look the best at this point. Let's see. Yeah. In trial 2, she said she gave the phone to a cop. In trial 1, I think it was that she said she didn't know who she gave it to, but it was some official who was on the scene. I think this is from Good's Cruiser Cam. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, yeah, I think it was Sean Good's car. Although and so again, like let's think about it this way. If this is Sean Good's car, which I believe it is too, and that's the audio that's being recorded, then why is Lank getting into Good's car and then when Seraph walks up being like, "This your phone?" when they're in Good's car? Wouldn't they just assume it's Good's phone if it was just sitting there? And if it's not just sitting there, then Lank has this phone and he doesn't know whose phone it is or where it came from. None of that makes sense to me. Let's see. So the video where Carrie is handing the phone to Lank or Gallagher or whoever she's handing it to is compelling to me, except for the fact that we don't know whose phone it is. If I don't know whose phone it is. Does anyone know whose phone it is? Because until we can answer that question, we don't really know if that's just confusing everything. You know what I mean? She watches that video during her testimony. Yes, this is also very interesting. The phone was moving before. This is the part that I want you to watch in Lana's video because she does cover this. The phone is moving before they discover John's body. Before, if Carrie in fact rolls him over and sees his phone and picks it up, the phone was moving before that happened. And that is why I think people are suspecting that Lank had it. But we don't know. I mean, that to me is such a huge point. Why is John's phone moving before they get there? Because John wasn't moving. And if John's phone was under his body and he wasn't moving, his phone shouldn't have been moving either, right? Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Carrie handed off Karen's phone. It was in her back seat. Oh, see, that makes sense to me. So, oh, that's even worse though. So if Carrie is handing that phone off in the dash cam video and it's Karen's phone, that changes a lot of things, right? And then also they have Karen's phone, which is kind of messed up, but I don't know if that's true, but that could be. Let's see. What does Lank drive? I don't know what Lank drives. I think it might have been a Ford, like an SUV, but I'm not sure. Oh, thanks, love. I enjoy your voice and tone and vibe and all the things. LOL. Thank you. I'm glad somebody does because I talk a lot. I am a summer, apparently. I've been wearing, ever since Rebecca told me what my color palette is supposed to be, I've been trying desperately to wear summer. I don't really know what that means totally, but I think this is it, right? Like grays and blues and things like that. Is it like, I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know. I'm as confused about my color tone as I am about Sam Benigno's name. Beningo. Fuck. Okay. Let's get through. We're going to start wrapping it up here because we have a lot to talk about on Thursday. I haven't even gotten into the sidebars. There's so much in the sidebars. Can I just throw this out there? This is something we're going to talk about on Thursday with Rebecca. Brian Higgins took a proffer. Queen for a day, Mr. Higgins. Mr. Queen for a day took a proffer from the FBI that basically means immunity for a day to spill the fucking beans. I want to know more about this. It's in the sidebars, so we don't know. We don't know what happened with the FBI. But you know what I am starting to think is that there's enough evidence. There's enough information and stuff coming out since this trial ended, the second trial, that they should definitely be reopening this case. And I'm hoping that a new district attorney in Norfolk County is going to do that. Adam Deitch, we're counting on you, buddy. Let's see. All right, let me get through a couple more of these, and then I am going to have to jump off because my family is like, hey, it's dinner time. Hey. Okay. Let's see. I mean, I don't know about this. Are there any lawyers in the house? Dever has probably been threatened with a perjury charge if she changes her story from trial. I mean, she changed her story from the FBI, and so I mean, you cannot lie to the FBI because you get in a lot of trouble. So I don't know, but I don't think that's enough to keep her from doing the right thing, or at least it shouldn't be enough. It shouldn't be that. Yeah. Calamity said, I'm in the ER now, but very medic 2 years ago, and hearing dispatch. Dever, yes, she was part of this. She was ground control for 911, LE, EMS, etc. She's the only one that heard everything on mass LE side. Good point. I think Kelly Dever knows a lot more than she's saying. I will say that. Okay, let's see. Okay. Hey, Kirks, I get what you're saying, buddy. I mean, the thing is, I understand that a lot of people do stuff for clicks. I get that. But I do think that there is something to this. And okay, let's put it this way. Take all the timestamps, take the steps, take John's phone out of it. Whose phone does he have? What's he talking about? Why is he asking everybody whose phone this is? Whose phone this belongs to? I want to know the answer to that. And then why in the middle of that conversation is another officer walking up and saying, hey, we're going to section her because we want to keep an eye on her. Like, we want to know where she is. There's so much going on. I think outside of John's phone that's happening in this dash cam video and in the audio, that I think it's important that we do dissect it. And I wouldn't have known about it. I mean, I guess I would have known about it because I would have gone through the files that Corri put out. But I do appreciate Lana's perspective, and I appreciate the research she's doing. And I think it's important to at least talk about it. I'm not one of those people that's like, hey, get on the phone with Karen Reed's lawyers and be like, you got to go watch this video. This proves who killed John. I'm not in that camp. I think it's a good conversation starter. I think it's really interesting to talk about. So I think we should. Let's see. Karen's phone. Kevin Albert left his phone there. We know he loses things. Hey, buddy, do you know where my badge and my gun are? Who lives in New Hampshire? Who lives in New Hampshire? Okay. All right. So this is something I'd like to know the answer to, Sean, as well. Sean says, I apologize if asked already, but with the new potential breakthrough, does it match with the phone temp expert? Many people have been asking this question in the chat. It's a question I have too. I'll have to go look it up. But it is interesting because if John's phone was under his body, it would match with the warming up of the phone. So I'd love to know the answer to this question too. And hopefully somebody can find it. Lank, okay. Carrie says, Lank admits he already has another phone. Quote, no, I have the inaudible, end quote. Now we're at a minimum of 2 phones, one inside Sarah's cruiser that nobody claims and one already in Lank's possession. That could be true. I mean, he could have John and Karen's phones. That's a possibility. All right. Couple more. Let's see. This is a good question. 56 Jenna Lee. I'm from South Florida, so just asking a question. Do police in Massachusetts have the option to mute their BWC body worn camera audio? I don't know the question of the answer to this, but I do know that it's body worn camera. It's different from each city, town, district. So, like, for instance, in the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case, which is in a different place from where the John O'Keefe was murdered, they don't even wear body worn cameras. So I don't really know if there's a state or a Commonwealth law that says they can. I do know that they can turn off their the tracking in their cars for certain things, which Michael Proctor did when he was driving down to Cape. So that's a good question. If anybody in the chat knows the answer to that, I would also like to know. Some do, some don't. I'm sorry, bite my bits. Some places in Massachusetts do use body cams, but there are a lot of places that don't, which is kind of scary to me. Let's see. Can Chronicle. NBC 10 is junk. Okay. Carrie testified that she had both John and Karen's phones, Dakota Girl says. Is that true? I don't remember. It's okay that she said, or they said, I'm not sure. I assume that you were she because you have girl in your title, but who knows? Crap, I'm sorry, I did not realize that was in all caps. I was like, okay, I get it. Let's see. I wonder, oh, this is interesting. Mac Dickles. I wonder if Carrie is having to assuage the O'Keefe's Peggy now that her memories are breaking down and changing and being exposed as other talking points. Whole thing is sick and sad. Completely agree. I feel bad for Peggy. Peggy has every right to be angry, and she has every right to feel the way that she feels. I wish that we were able to see that if an innocent person is being accused and charged with something that they didn't do, I would hope that even the victim's family would be able to see, like, okay, maybe it wasn't her, maybe it was somebody else. But I'm not going to ask that of any victim's family because I know that their heart is broken and their soul is a little broken. And, so I have very mixed feelings about Peggy O'Keefe. I think that she is very firm in her beliefs, and I think she hates Karen. And I think that, we saw that during the trial with all the gesturing and facial expressions and all the stuff and all the sort of theatrics that were coming from the O'Keefe side of the court. But I also understand it, and it's sad. It's sad. Okay. Yeah. Island Life said the biggest shock to me is how clear the videos are compared to the trial, for sure. And I hear I haven't verified this yet. Does anybody know for sure? There's the interior and the exterior video of the waterfall, which I find really interesting. But I hear that the interior video of the waterfall, the timestamp has been removed so you can actually see the whole bar area and that it's clear. So let me know if you've seen it. I have plans to watch it over the next couple of days. So yeah. Let's see. Karen gave her phone to Proctor Yuri later at 6:15. Thanks for the $2, strange credulity. I know that's true, but I'm wondering, because it was in the back seat of Carrie's car, if Carrie picked it up and handed it off to somebody and then they realized whose phone it was, so they gave it back to Karen. I don't know if that's what happened, but I'm assuming that that's what might have happened, but I don't know. Let's see. So many comments. Okay. Let's see. Lana has some past issues with other YTers and stuff, mostly drama. She's good at FOIAs. That's true. I mean, FOIAs, it's a pain in the ass. Let me tell you, as somebody who has to apply for FOIAs myself, you're either having to fill out loads of paperwork to get what you need, and you have to be so specific about what you need. Either that or you have to be so vague. So it's like, I need emails from the chief of police, from February 4th to February 10th. And that's sort of like all the emails, right? Or you have to be like, I need all the emails from the chief of police from February 4th to February 10th that include subject matter like blah, blah, blah. And then there are some places that charge you an arm and a leg for it. So, I think Corey's run into that a couple of times. I've definitely run into that. When I originally tried to get any of the information from WMUR or the case file for Pam Smart, they were trying to charge me like thousands of dollars to get that information. Eventually, I was able to go into the courthouse with Pam's legal team and actually like physically page through the entire case file, which was huge and included swastikas, which I found really crazy. Go listen to the In Between podcast if you don't want to know more about that story. But sometimes it's really expensive and it's really time consuming, and you could fill out a 1-page FOIA with all the detailed information you're asking for, and it could take them weeks, months to get back to you. And then they get back to you and go, no, we can't do that. Or you're only going to get this. And then you have to resubmit. The whole process takes forever sometimes. And, it sucks. So if you're good at FOIAs and you're diligent, I have respect, much respect. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So Dakota Girl is saying that she was in possession of both John and Karen's phones. That is very interesting. All right, guys. Before we leave, if you wouldn't mind smashing the like button and subscribing and doing all the things you can do to help us move up in the algorithm, I would appreciate it. Rebecca would appreciate it. And I appreciate this conversation. We've had a really, really, really good in-depth conversation. I would encourage you all to go watch Lana's video. I would go watch Canton Confidential. And I would go and I'm going to post Corri's drive, or I think it's Loophole Lawyers drive, but it's all the Karen Reed trial files. And they've just been updated from the 13th through the 15th with all the new stuff that Corri got. So go have a look for yourself. Don't let me be the judge for you. Don't let anyone else be the judge for you. Go and read these files. Go and read the Epstein files, even though they're horrendous. And I hope that some of you guys will be there tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for my new show called News Light with Mel Barrett. If you aren't subscribed, I would appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for all of the memberships that you guys gifted and bought today. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the tips. You guys are amazing. We so appreciate you. We love the support, and we will see you on Thursday. Thanks, y'all.